What's going on, Nucanoe Nation, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen? I'm back at it again. Good to see you folks. Do me a favor, go down in that lower left-hand corner, smash that share button. Let's get some folks in here. Drop in the comments where you're tuning in from, what kind of kayak you are floating out of. We got one of our brothers from up there in the north, in the house tonight. That's why I'm wearing my hockey jersey. I didn't tell him before we started. I kind of jumped in here late, So, but we got Mr. Dave Palmer in the house tonight, talking a little kayak hunting, perhaps a little fishing. I know he's not like a hardcore kayak fisherman, which I think we're starting to convert him a little bit, which I think is against your like Canadian religion if you're not a fisherman. Like, doesn't make sense to me. So we're going to talk to Dave tonight. We got Brock Howell in the house. What's up, my brother from another mother? Hope you're doing well, buddy. I know Brock's been down there in Indiana running his unlimited with the XI3 on the front, catching some biggins. We got Foul Freddy in the house. He's got an F10. I like it. Let's get Mr. One second, girls. I got an update on River Wolf for you folks. Good news. I know his wife had posted up, and I think it was Easter weekend. Let me pull this up. Sorry, guys. I was doing a couple things before I jumped on here real quick. Got a new fishing rod. Came in. Was playing with that. Sonny is doing good. He continues to go through his physical therapy, and he is making some leaps and bounds. So much progress lately. She's been waiting to post an update. Sonny is completely off ECMO support since April 4th, meaning no more. I'm not sure what ECMO is. He's completely off the ventilator, things like that. He's been walking, crushing it. So far, 20 feet is the longest he's walked by himself, with a little help of a walker, of course. But he's crushing it. Just all the positive support, prayers, thoughts for Sonny, man. Much appreciated. Sonny, if you're out there, wow, man, hope you're doing well, brother, and keep getting better. Looking forward to seeing you back on the water soon, brother. So, we got our man up there from Canada, Newfoundland, Mr. Damian Pittman in the house. So, let's get Mr. Palmer in the house. How you doing, sir?
Hey, buddy, doing good, and you?
Is the hockey jersey okay? Is proper
you know what?
attire?
Funny enough, Washington Capitals, my cousin actually played for them.
Really?
Yeah. A couple, like 4 or 5 years ago, Mike Latta. So
nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm surprised you're a Capitals fan, but yeah, whatever. Yeah,
I was a Blackhawks fan for many years, and then the organization they made some bad moves. Bad moves. Sold away a lot of our young players, and it found me quite upset. So Ovechkin for the W.
Yeah,
just saying.
Hopefully he gets better soon, right?
So I hope so. Foul Freddy says New York Rangers, loud and proud. Love it. So Mr. Palmer, welcome to the show, man. This has been a long time coming. I know it's we've been talking about doing this for a while, and I hit you up, and unfortunately you were under the weather, fresh off of COVID. How do you feel, my friend?
Yeah, I'm feeling great. It was kind of one of those things. It's a weird situation here in Ontario. Like if you get COVID, then you isolate for 5 days and then you're good to go. Sure. But if your family member gets it, then you have to isolate with them, and then for 5 days more you have to wear masks. Geez. Both my kids get it, my wife gets it, and then so I was the last one, so I had to isolate with all them all the time. So a lot of time spent in the house just doing nothing.
Yeah, I bet.
No, we're all good now.
polishing duck decoys in the garage and stuff, or what?
Yeah, just dreaming of next season, right? No, I don't know if you saw. I've got a big project on the go right now. I switched from an open trailer for my kayaks. I switched to fully enclosed. So I'm building some racking, and then I'm gonna. You see all these guys with the full trailers for decoys for goose spreads and stuff, and
Sure.
so I got an enclosed trailer. And I'm gonna put all my kayaks in there and put some bunks in it, and I can hunt pretty much anywhere I can get access to water. So that's kind of what I started working on. Yeah.
Nice. Very cool, man. Yeah, I know a couple people that have the enclosed trailers. They like it because, if you're not parking your trailer in the garage and it's parked outside, it's out of the elements. And it's just nice to have everything in there ready to go, hook up and take off, man.
Yeah. So originally I was going to do have you seen those? It's like a tent for the top of your tonneau cover on your truck.
Yeah.
I was like, I'll just get one of those, and then I'll have the trailer with the kayaks on behind me. And when I finally went and looked at the price of those tents, I was just like, I can
ridiculous.
I can get a fully enclosed trailer and have multifunction that thing, right? So
nice. I like it. Well, let's get a little background on you for the folks that may not know who you are and what you do. Obviously, Dave's from Canada, and he's one of our guys that's kind of more on the hunting side of things, hunting out of a Nucanoe, and you also do a podcast as well, Punisher Waterfowl, and things like that, man. So let's get a little background on you, like what got you into the kayaks and duck hunting and all that good stuff, bud.
Yeah, so I didn't start hunting until later on in life, right? Like not hunting officially, right? So when I was 22, I got into the hunting and I tried the ducks, and then I got into turkey season and really loved the turkey. And then Punisher Waterfowl, we did the first camp back 2014, 2015. And I went to that, and just, it was more the brotherhood of the actual, going out and shooting ducks and, you can sit in the blind and talk. And then I really became obsessed with it. And then it just grew, and I went and, hey, Philly, how's it going, buddy? I went and got a big boat, and I started with that, and then going through it. And every time I'd be bringing out a kayak, and
Sure.
And then I just started more and more going out with the kayaks, and got the second one. And now I take people with a couple kayaks, and I found the accessibility. So that's why I switched to the kayaks. Through all this time, we also got into Punisher Waterfowl. I ended up buying into it with my friend Damien there that was there. And then Damien and I started the podcast, the Union 0430, with three other great guys that, we've been doing that, and it's taken off. It's been fun.
Real quick, I've been meaning to ask you guys this. So what does the Union 0430 mean? Does that mean like 4:30 a.m.? This is when we're getting up and going to duck hunt? Like, that's the only thing I could come up with.
See, that's how I take it, but it's also the street that Damien grew up on. Something like that. Damien could comment in the chat here, and he could tell you better, but it kind of, everything worked out. So we're a union, we're a brotherhood, we're just a group of friends just having fun. We're not experts, we're just having fun, right? And it multifunctional, that 0430 portion of it, right?
Yeah, I mean, when I think of duck hunting, it's like, oh man, we got to get up at like 4:30, and it's just like, I thought getting up for pre-fishing for a tournament or going to fish a tournament was bad, man. But duck hunting's brutal, along with deer hunting,
But at least
or like
at least with the ducks, you can get out there and start cooking yourself a breakfast, and you got the little cooking set up, and the bacon seems to attract the ducks versus the deer that would run away, right? So
maybe that's my problem. I'm not cooking bacon in the duck blind.
Oh yeah, you need one of those little grill. I actually just bought one last night. I've been Delta Waterfowl here in Canada, I guess. All the Delta groups, they've been having little fundraisers and auctions, right, online. And every single time I'm trying to buy one. Finally, last night I got a hold of one of those griddles. So next year's going to be a game changer in that Nucanoe.
Nice. Yeah, Damien's in the chat. He says in Newfoundland, Route 430, the Viking Trail.
Yeah,
he looks like he's a Viking. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah,
he he could definitely pass as a Viking.
Yeah.
Then
he's
again,
a
he
beaut.
trimmed up a little bit, didn't he?
Yeah, he shaved her all off there not long ago.
Oh boy.
So
Oh boy.
yeah.
So you got into hunting in your early 20s and just been going pretty hard at that for a while, and it's kind of spiraled into a bunch of different things for you.
Yeah, so with that, I got more so with the turkeys. I got into making calls, pot calls for. It was just youth and new hunters. Like I remember when I started out, what do I get? What do I start with?
Sure.
And with my kids growing up, I was like, oh well, if your friends want to hunt, I might as well. My grandpa was into woodworking, so I learned from him. So I started doing woodworking and started making pot calls, and then now I'm trying to get into more duck and goose calls and do that too. So yeah.
you're gonna be like the next duck commander?
You know what? Every single person that I say that to, that's their, oh, you're like the next Uncle Si, aren't you? I'm like,
Well, I think Phil was the brains behind that operation, wasn't he?
yeah. He was a bit of an athlete too, from what I hear.
Yeah,
Football and stuff.
big
Yeah.
in football, college football and stuff like that. And then I think he
Yeah.
got injured, or his first son was born, or something like that. That kind of held him up from pursuing that a little deeper. But
Yeah.
supposedly he was a little better than Terry Bradshaw. Like Bradshaw was his backup quarterback.
Yeah. That's
So yeah.
yeah. If you know football, you might know who Terry Bradshaw is.
Oh, that's great stuff, man. So what got you into a Nucanoe and utilizing that for kayak hunting?
So when I originally bought the Nucanoe, it was for going out fishing. My grandpa was a huge fisherman, so I got the Nucanoe for fishing. It just happened that I went to a store. I was looking at all the different brands, and that's the one that caught my eye. Like I could solo seat it. I could take this. I could put a second seat on it. It was stable enough. I could have at the time my kids were really small, and I could take both them out. Right.
Sure.
So it just kind of fit. It ticked off all the boxes when I first went to get my first one, and then after that, I started seeing I was like, oh well, I've seen a layout boat. What's different between this kayak and a layout boat? So I started trying it out and experimenting, and then finally went and splurged and got the blind and the grass and started just getting more and more, and it's been fun.
Nice. So you do fish? Because I remember we talked before, and you're like, yeah, I'm not that big of a fisherman.
You know what? So the problem with fishing here, like right now, this is the best time to get the steelhead. But it's also turkey season, right?
Sure.
So if I have to choose, I'm going to choose a turkey over a fish any day, right?
Well, that's like down here when early duck season kicks in, and like early goose and teal season. I know your guys' seasons are a little different, but when that actually opens up down here, that's when it goes into that fall transition, and the bass start plumping up and I always miss that fall bite because like I always have my old man ragging on me, come on, let's go fishing. I'm like, look, hunting season is like this small, fishing season is this big, so I need to take advantage of all the time I can get when I can get out there. We got Foul Freddy in the chat. He says, what do you fish for up there in Canada other than the steelhead?
You know what? There's the steelhead. There's a lot of bass fish. My personal favorite is the pike. I like going for pike, and that's what I like. There's a couple small little inland lakes that are good for that. Walleye, there's been lots of that going on. So there's a large variety. Philly, he's a big muskie fisherman, and I've never even seen a muskie. So yeah.
That's just funny to me. Like, down here in the States, like everybody's like, I'm going to Canada, going to catch a huge muskie, some walleyes, some pike, and it's like a guy from Canada's never seen a muskie before. That's just crazy to me. Your focus is on other things. I understand.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And I find myself the more the years have gone on, it's like, oh, I could be out muskie fishing now, but I also need to build some calls for next duck season, or I need to get this ready. So I just, get into things that I'm more passionate about right now. So
right on.
Maybe one day things will slow down and I'll get back into it.
Damien just posted the link to your YouTube video of you grassing in your Nucanoe.
Yeah.
So before we get to that, because I definitely want to talk about that, because I think that's a good video for somebody that's looking at, getting into waterfowl hunting out of a kayak. Like grassing up your blind is a huge part of that. And but what was your first model Nucanoe? Was it a Frontier 12?
It was the Frontier 12. Yep.
Okay.
It was, yep. Big stable. Great for the whole family, right? So that's what I got into first. So, and that thing's been through, it's like the original Frontier 12, like 2014, 2015 ish, right?
Sure.
So yeah, it's they've changed a bit since I got mine. Like they used to have just that bungee cord and
yeah.
Right. So
I hear you on that, man. Well, you're in an unlimited now, correct?
Yeah, I have an unlimited and the Frontier 12. I find myself whenever they both to me paddle fairly similar.
Okay.
So whenever I take someone out, like we take the two kayaks out, I let them choose, hey, which one do you want to try today? And when we get out there, we carry the same amount of gear. They paddle the same. But the only difference is that when I go solo, if I take the unlimited, I have to remember to bring those little hoops to lock in so I can attach the blind. Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. There's the two thumb screws with the little hoops that go in the tracks in the front and the back, so the blind can attach to that. Whereas they're fixed on the inside of the F12 and F10 too, I believe.
Yeah. So I embarrassingly went out one day all by myself, took tons of gear, paddled all the way out, like a long paddle to get where I was going. Get there, get all the decoys set out, and go to put the blind on. And I'm like, I forgot those things, and said a few choice words, and then I ended up just like laying it down more like a blanket than an actual like blind setup, and it worked fine. But I never made that mistake again. I now keep them in a little baggie and put them in the back of that little
hatch in the back.
Yeah, the little hatch thing. Yeah, I keep them back there.
So how many ducks did you kill that day?
I actually got 3 that day.
Nice.
It was
nice.
Yeah, one of them was my first widgeon of the year last year. So
okay,
yeah.
all right.
Went well.
That's still one I have not gotten. So
it was a surprise when it came in, and then I was happy that I was able to get it. And yeah,
very cool, man. Very cool. So it's interesting to me because anytime I've gone out in the kayak duck hunting, we've set up the blinds before we got out there and we paddle with them in. So you're actually paddling out and then setting up after you get all your decoys set and everything like that.
So I do it both ways, right? Depending on the place that I was going to be standing in like ankle deep water, right?
Sure.
So if I'm going somewhere that I know it's going to be really shallow, I'll actually just take it. What I do with my blind for storage and for transportation is I take one of those great big decoy bag sacks. They're like $12 on Amazon.
Yeah.
And it's just and I just roll it up and I stuff it in there. And then that's how I transport my blind.
Okay.
Yeah, it just works well, right? And then I can put it back in the truck when it's dried out and all that.
Yeah.
So I'll carry that, but then I'll carry like a couple dozen decoys in the back of the Nucanoe there too.
What kind of how many dozen you taking out when you're going out like solo in the kayak? 2, 3?
Generally, I'll take 2, 2.5.
Okay.
I switched to lifetimes this year because they were just light.
Sure.
But then it was pointed out that there's an easier way to make it lighter in the kayak, and that's if I started going to the gym, right? So, yeah. So you're saving 2.5 pounds on a dozen. So why don't you just, stop having a Big Mac every week, right?
I like it. I mean, that's a solid plan,
Yeah.
If it,
So
you get a half a dozen if you just eat one less cheeseburger a week.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what I need to do. I could probably get one more 5-pound bass in the boat if I just quit eating cheeseburgers all the time.
Yeah.
I love it, dude. I love it. So when does your guys' season start up there? It's early, isn't it? September, ain't it?
Yeah. So generally like this, at the start of September, we'll have an early goose season. And then around September 25th last year, it's normally around that date, is the opener for ducks. And then it goes right through until January. They also have a week before the opener, they have a heritage day for just kids under 17.
Oh, that's
so
cool.
I tend to take a couple of kids out every year for that. I try to get as many kids as I can with adults to take them. And the way it's set up is the adults can't do the hunting. It's for the kids. We're there to supervise them, right?
Sure.
So it's a good little day, and it gets them out on unpressured birds, right? So,
that's super cool. That's super cool. Because you do quite a bit of stuff like that. Like I know with Punisher Waterfowl, you guys set up like camps and stuff where you kind of take some inexperienced or experienced hunters out and just kind of hang out as a group, right?
Yeah, and that's what it's about, is just getting people, like good people together that are going to go out and enjoy their time. And the biggest part of it is that there's pretty much no town in Ontario that I don't know someone from based on these camps, right? And now anyone, even today, like anyone that goes to our camps, we have a little group chat for them.
Okay.
And people are, hey, I'm going hunt. I got a hot field this week. Does anyone want to come hunting? And so it kind of, a lot of camaraderie from it around the province of Ontario, which has been really good. That's bringing people together, right?
That's super cool. That's super cool.
Yeah.
Foul Freddy's asking, do the kids shoot?
Yeah. So here in Ontario, kids between 12 and 15 can shoot, but they have to use the gun for the licensed adult. And then from 15 to 17, they can use a gun on their own. So my son's officially able to shoot with me this year. He's 15 now. So
nice.
Yeah. So kids 12 and up are allowed to shoot in Ontario.
So Damien's in the chat, obviously, and he says Dave does so much for kids. His passion is introducing kids to the outdoors. Like, where does that kind of spark from, man? Is it because like you got into it late and you want to see the younger generations carry on traditions, or?
Yeah, and well, a part of it's more. Well, when I'm older, I need these kids to take me out. You know what I'm saying?
But no, I'm going through that right now. I'm taking my old man out fishing, and I feel like I'm taking a little kid sometimes. You know,
yes.
The old man's not as swift on his feet as he used to be. You know. So
yeah, exactly. So no, I have kids, and as they were growing up, it was like, we're going turkey hunting, and I want a friend over. Can they come too? Well, if the parents okay with it. Sure. And there was just so many parents that the hunting and the outdoor side of it just wasn't something that they'd ever done before. So I was like, well, let's just get going more at that. Let's, bring a friend out every single time. That's good. Right. And then now I'm seeing like some kids are coming out and they're going hunting and they love it. And then, well, mom and dad, let's go. And so the mom and dad have to go get their license, and then it does a lot because then they start getting involved. A lot of times what I'll see is the kid says, I want to go hunting again. And the parents are like, well, no, let's go fishing because anyone can get a fishing. You don't have to do courses for the fishing licenses here. Right. So
sure.
But just getting more people outdoors. Right. My kids, they love their video games, and hunting and fishing is getting them outdoors. So
it's huge, man. Like, especially in today's times, right? Like, kids are so glued to doing this. You know what I mean? Like phones, nonstop, tablets, video games, things like that. But, what you're doing is huge, man, because you're changing a bunch of kids' lives, getting them into that, outdoors traditions, and hopefully they take to it and carry it on. And like you said, as they get older and they can, shoot themselves and go out themselves, man, now, your son and all his friends are going to have their own little hunt camps, and they're leaving dad at home, So that's super cool to see, man. Super cool. Kudos to you, man.
One of the coolest things that happened last year, my son was still 14, but his buddy was 15 and could have the gun on his own. Right. And, they were, okay, we want to go hunting on our own. His son's best friend at the time, he's allowed to shoot on his own. And to see them go out and send me a picture of the two of them with a bird that they got on their own turkey season. It blew me away. I was just like, that is awesome. Like these kids, that's going to be an experience for those kids that's going to last forever, right?
For sure. Yeah. I mean, that's how passions are fueled up, right?
Yeah,
being
exactly.
able to learn from, a mentor and then go out and accomplish it on your own is such a huge thing. Huge thing.
And the other thing too is just having the experience, like I've taken kids out that they don't like it. They're sitting there, they're waiting and nothing's happened. There's no action and they don't like it. And that's fine. But just go out and get these experiences. Like you don't have to be the next Sidney Crosby when you're 5 years old, right? Go out and try hockey, try soccer, try hunting, try
Crosby,
fishing.
Dude, like how could you even bring that up? I'm wearing an Ovechkin jersey, bro.
That's why I said Crosby instead of Ovechkin. Right?
I don't know. I think this interview's over, Dave. I think it's over, Dave.
Yeah.
No, it's cool, man, and I get that. Like, I've taken my nephews out sometimes fishing, right? And if it's slow going, they last maybe an hour, and they're like, this stinks. Take me back. I want to go home. All that, but then a day later, they're, hey, can we go fishing again?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's huge. I mean, even though that action isn't there, the fact that they're being introduced to it sparks that, chance that, to get out there and do something different, which is awesome.
And nowadays kids, like we were talking about with the video games, there's now well, I'm sure there's always been video games for hunting, but now there's this Hunter Call of the Wild and the kids will play that. And like, then they go out and it's unrealistic. Like you're not seeing the footprints and tracking them and shooting it in 10 seconds. Right. Like,
right.
So it's kind of been a neat little learning curve, but yeah,
well, that's like you watch a YouTube video now on fishing or hunting, and it's like those hours are condensed into minutes or seconds. You know what I mean? And I think that's the problem is like kids get these expectations from the way things are viewed nowadays, with these short clips and, short YouTube videos. Like you'll see a guy catch 20 bass in a 10-minute YouTube video and they instantly expect to go out and slam 20 bass in 10 minutes, and it's definitely not that case. That took, 10 hours, 8 hours, whatever it may be, so.
And so Damien and I are trying to get into filming hunting now too.
Okay.
But with that, we're going to go a bit of a different route with it. I've been so focused whenever we've been filming, we've been so focused on getting the kill shots, just like everyone else has been doing. We never really stepped back. And then, so yeah, we've got some plans in the works for this fall and hopefully it comes to fruition that people will enjoy and it'll show people more the camaraderie side, and the other parts of hunting that it's not just about that 2 seconds of shooting.
Sure.
100%. Other than there's nothing better than shooting and seeing a guy miss and being able to rag on him for a couple hours, right?
Yeah, I think I got more stories of like duck hunting just alone of like non like shooting stories. You know what I mean? Like, man, there's so many. I mean, there was the one time I took Brad out and we were sitting on the bank of a creek and woodies were dropping in. And I mean, he did shoot a couple times and he missed all those times and got very frustrated. And I thought I was going to go fish a Benelli out of the bottom of a creek. I'm just saying, but, or the time, the duck boat was kind of stuck up in the sand on the Mississippi River, and watched him get very frustrated on trying to get that out and things of that nature. But
or stuff about people using the butt of the Benelli as their paddle, stuff like that. That's kind of those are some good stories too, right? So
this is a great question, man. Brock Howell, he's in Indiana. He says, how's the duck hunting been up that way the last couple of years? Down here in Indiana, we haven't had much of the numbers of birds that they used to get.
So this fall, I found it was a little bit later than normal.
Okay.
And you know what? I found that the ducks were they've been later the last couple of years. It's just been warmer later on.
Sure.
Like this year, look at the motorcycle season, right? Guys were riding their motorcycles until mid-December at times, like hit and miss, whether they were on or not, but
sure,
they were still able to get out. So the ducks weren't fully down here yet. And the ones that were here were kind of more resident. So it has been a bit slower. I agree with what Brock's been saying there. That being said,
I
like
think for the Northern Wisconsin opener, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, like, a couple weeks after season closed, things started freezing up here, and like there was a great big, a big open hole on the lake that I saw, and there was a pile of birds in there, right? So
sure.
So yeah, I'm hoping that it turns around. The other thing that I'm kind of keeping an eye on that we probably won't have time to get into is that the avian flu and what's going on with that there and the bird numbers. So we'll see how that affects this fall. But
what is the avian flu? Now I'm interested. We are going to get into that.
Yeah, see, I don't know enough about it and how it affects birds, but I've been hearing that there's been a lot of birds that the mortality rate's gone up in birds.
Okay.
So what that means for the future, I don't know, right? I'm not a biologist, right? I just know that there's been talk of this avian flu and what's going on with it. So yeah.
Interesting.
It's something to keep an eye on.
That is interesting. Yeah, I mean, what I was going to say before is, like, I remember for the Northern Wisconsin opener, I mean, it was nice and cold in the morning, like probably upper 30s, low 40s. But by midday, it was like 70 degrees, and we were in T-shirts, man. We were stripping off camo, and, even for the Southern opener, it was the same thing. It was still super warm. You know, I know I was right after the Southern opener, I was deer hunting, and I mean, dude, I almost had to be in a T-shirt. I mean, I was definitely covered up, but it was just like, man, it definitely stayed warm all through October down here into part of November.
Yeah. And it's something that I think we're going to deal with. Like, I don't think they're going to shift seasons because I think it's cyclic myself, but I think it's something that we got to just get used to is that it's a bit warmer later into the fall. So, yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, and it's not getting warmer till later. Like right now, I'm on the border of Illinois and Wisconsin, and today I think was like a high of 52. And it's been getting down into the 30s in the evening. And we're damn near almost into May.
It's snowing here.
Up there right now.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not that far north either. Like I'm just on the edge of Lake Huron. It's snowing here. So
that's crazy. Crazy. How much are you guys supposed to get?
It won't. It's the ground's warm enough and wet enough that it won't.
Sure.
It won't turn things white.
Sure.
I'll say that,
sure.
right?
Sure.
But
sure.
There's snow in the air, so
that's crazy. That's crazy. Well, we had snow. I think about a week ago.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was crazy. James O'Neill says it was 80 yesterday here.
See, and I think that's something that's more important to talk about is you guys in your 80s and I don't know, we got Celsius. It makes more sense, right?
Are we going to have a conversation about the metric system now? Is that where we're going, Dave?
I don't think there needs to be. I think I'm right. 0 degrees is freezing. That's cold, right? What's that, 32 for you guys?
Oh, man. Oh, that's funny. Foul Freddy said last week we had snow northeast Pennsylvania. Yeah. I believe that's what NEPA is standing for, is northeast Pennsylvania.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So, yeah, we had the same snow blow through here, man. It was kind of crazy because we had I think it was 70-degree temps earlier that week or weekend and then snow on Monday, and it was just like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
So, but before we wrap up, man, what got you guys into doing the Punisher Waterfowl podcast?
Yeah, so the podcast was just Damien was like, we should do a podcast, and I was like, yeah, we should. And then it just kind of started from there, and then we started talking to Mark, Ryan, and Phil, and just said, yeah, let's give it a shot and let's go. And then it's been a way that we've been able to show people that there's a lot of good people in the hunting industry, and we've been able to like talk to a lot of people, and it's just been a great time. Like, we're just having fun with it. We're not experts. We're just having fun with it. And that's something that we've been trying to just show people, like, have fun with this outdoor stuff. That's what it should be about. So.
No, I agree, man. I've been on your guys' show, and it was a riot. I had a lot of fun chatting with you guys, and you talked about the camaraderie earlier, and you could tell all you guys have that for sure. It's it was a lot of fun, and I look forward to maybe someday getting back on there.
You know what? I think more importantly would be you coming up this fall and us filming a duck hunt.
I think that is more important. That is more important. Maybe we'll make it like a Nucanoe project. Blake, plane ticket, something like that. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Yeah. So, great question. Phil from BC is asking, when it comes to hunting, which is a better option, F12 or unlimited, in your opinion?
So, in my opinion, I started with the F12, and I really like my F12. They're both going to be the same for you. When it comes to transport, I like transport in the unlimited more. It is a bit longer. It's got that. It doesn't have the curves on the end, so it's better for putting it on top of the truck, I found. But I still like hunting out of the F12. Just, it's got the built-in clips, and I don't have to remember them every single time, and feel silly when I forget them the one time, right? So, yeah. But they're both excellent options, right?
Yeah,
they're both great.
No, I completely agree, man. I don't think you could really go wrong with either. No, I think with the F12, you kind of sit more down in the boat compared to the unlimited, even with the seat in the low position, because the F12, the seat tracks are on the floor of the boat, whereas the unlimited, they're up on the gunnels a little bit. So it's I think, from that standpoint and a layout blind standpoint, in my opinion, I think you sit a little lower, which for a tall guy like me is probably a little better. But and I know somebody asked earlier in the chat, and I forget who it was, and I apologize to whoever asked the question. I think it was Foul Freddy, actually. He asked, power or paddle? Are you always paddling? Are you using a motor at all or anything like that?
I'm always paddling. Yeah. That's just the way it's always been. I find people ask that question all the time, and it's based on their mindset is like accessibility of the water, right?
Sure.
And they're thinking about boat launches. Sure. But really, I've started trying to find places that you can launch your Nucanoes. Right, if you can get water, you can just right off the side of the road, so you can get closer, and you're paddling a short distance, and then you don't have the motor on the back and the weight of the battery. And I want to try and keep it minimalistic, if you know what I mean.
Sure. Yeah. Well, the less crap you got on your boat, the more decoys you could put in it, or the more shotgun shells, or whatever it may be. That's more important to you,
Now, that being said, like, I think next year's, I was going to do it this year, but with the new trailer, I think next year's project, is going to be one of those little 2.5 horse mud motors.
Yeah.
I think that'd be great. Just get anywhere, right?
That's what Brad's running on his. And he had it on his Pursuit, and now he's planning on putting it on his Unlimited. And Foul Freddy's in the chat and says, I like an F10, and there's a lot of guys down south, southeast, in the, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi area that are using the F10s just because they're smaller and they can get into some tighter places.
And that's the next one. I'm planning to get one for this fall. I'm switching more. Phil BC there. I've been watching his Instagram there and trying to learn this photography stuff. I just figure I can get two guys out in front of me in the Nucanoes, and I can be in the back and get some good content, right? So I'm going to try and get into that stuff. So
I dig it, man.
So here's one. When you're hunting, do you put a ghillie suit on?
No.
See, that's one thing that I started doing, and maybe it's a placebo effect, but I think it works really well, especially like the one for the face. I
mean,
really like that.
I wear a face mask, but I've never worn a ghillie suit. Now I'll obviously wear camo and stuff like that, and I got my fancy synthetic grass, so
yeah. I always put on, especially the head. The First Light has a leafy suit, a leafy head.
Okay.
Leafy balaclava, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And it's just perfect. Like, it kind of breaks up that outline. You look like a tree growing out of the grass blind, right?
Sure. Sure. I could see that.
Something to look into. That's something I've been trying anyway. Spend
my money, Dave. Spend it. Just spend it, bro.
That's all I'm trying to do, right?
Brock Howell's in the chat. He says, I paint my face.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got a big old beard and stuff. I don't even think he needs to paint his face. No. He just looks like a hairy bush. Pun intended, buddy. But no, it's super cool, man. Like, what other you got any other good pointers for somebody that may be looking into getting into waterfowl hunting or something like that, like some go-to gear or something they should consider having with them when they go out?
A tether for your gun. That's just something, like, you don't want to be finding a scuba diver to try and get your gun out of the bottom of a lake, right? So I think a tether for your gun, and that can be as simple as just getting a gun strap, and on the one end of it, just putting a carabiner on it, and then clipping it to your seat, right? Like, just something to attach it to your Nucanoe. Don't attach it to yourself, because people talk about all the time about the waders filling up with water and then that becoming an anchor. You don't want an extra anchor of the gun weight. And I know it's minimal, like 4 or 5 pounds, right? But
sure,
you don't want that extra weight on top of that when you're panicking, trying to get out of cold water. So
sure,
that's something. And then with that, merino wool, that's
huge.
It's huge, right? That's one of the biggest things that I try and get people into, is like, think about your merino wool and get into that. Yeah. Quality waterproof camo, quality merino wool. So
I like it. I love it, man. Final thoughts. Any last things you want to throw out there, man?
Yeah. You know what? Check out our podcast. If there's something that you guys want to learn from us, let us know. We're always here to help. If you want to see a guest on, like Brian coming back on, let us know, man. That's it'll be a good time. And yeah, check out our YouTube, check out our page, reach out. We're here to help. That's what we're there for. So
it's awesome, man.
Thanks a lot for having me on there, buddy.
Yeah, no worries, bro. Brock Howell's asking, do you wear your waders in the kayak?
Yep, I will wear. So I take my dog out with me too. I'll have my dog in behind me. Sometimes the water will get in. Sometimes I'll get out and retrieve ducks with the dog. So I just have the waders on myself. Yeah.
I'm the same way, man. I mean, most of the spots we're going, it's shallow marsh. You know what I mean? So even if I do fall out, I may be standing in 3 foot of muck, but I'm still like above my waist. You know what I mean? So that's
and
huge,
I'm not saying that there's anything scary there about waders with the water. It is a risk and something that, maybe look into that.
Right.
It could be a potential problem, but like, there's wading belts and stuff like that you can put on that help with that. And then I don't know if you ever heard of Jeff Coates, but he did a video where he's got his waders on and he jumps into a pool, and just to kind of show what's going on there. I'm sure that there is some kind of risk there, but it's something that you should be aware of, but don't be super afraid of it. Right.
Yeah. Totally agree. Freddie said, great post. You're welcome, my friend. Hope you have a good season this year. So I got one show suggestion, man.
Yeah, buddy.
Have Damien teach how to talk with a Newfoundland accent.
Yeah. Get some molasses bread and some steaks. Yeah. So when I was in college, I took marine engineering in college, and part of that is you have to work on ships, right? Like the big 750-foot transport ships, right?
Sure.
And those ships, we get on them, and a lot of the crew would be from Newfoundland. and every single one of them would call me boy, and all the mannerisms that Damien had. And I think that's why Damien and I get along so well, is because I absolutely love them. Right. So yeah, it's just
I love
great.
it.
Yeah.
I love it, dude. His accent is so thick. I love it. I could listen to him talk for hours, dude,
Yeah.
just because it's so great.
Yeah.
Foul Freddy is asking, what is the name of your podcast?
So it's called the Union 0430. If you look us up on YouTube, it's search for Punisher Waterfowl, search for the Union 0430, either or. It's also on Spotify, iTunes, Podbean, you name it.
I'm gonna drop the link to your guys' YouTube channel down here in the chat. That way you could find it that way. But yeah, they're on all the major podcast platforms, just like us here. Just search Nucanoe Unlimited, and it'll pop right up. Had this pulled up, man.
It was this Nucanoe. I still got to get some of that synthetic grass, right?
Dude,
Because if people don't know.
So it's funny that you bring that up. Is we were at the boat shows this year. I was down at the Indiana boat and travel show, and we had My Unlimited set up with the grass, and it was like, and they had the waterfowl, deer, turkey expo going on that weekend, so that's why we set it up. And every duck hunter walked through and was like feeling the grass, and they were looking around like, where do I buy this? And then the question came, what is this? Where do I get it? And I don't know. I probably served those guys up a few $1,000s worth of grass orders.
Well, if you go back in this, I think it was the Unlimited podcast you were hosting with your buddy there, the duck hunter.
Yeah.
And it was like a week before that, I was trying to make the video for how to grass in your blind for our YouTube page. And I'm like, hey, Schiller, man, what kind of grass do you use? Where do you get it from? Like, I'm in Canada. I'm just ordering raffia grass from wherever, right?
Right.
And he messages me back, and he says, oh, it's synthetic grass. And I was like, yeah, right. You're pulling my leg here. So I go on the Canadian Waterfowl Supply website, and I'm like, synthetic. I don't find it. I find the raffia grass. I get some raffia grass from them. So I put that on. And then a week later, they're doing the duck hunting podcast. And I'm like, so what do you think is more important, the synthetic grass? And I'm being a bit of a jerk about it. And both the guys we both use synthetic grass, and here's the website, and it's an actual thing. And I'm going, oh, I feel like a bit of a dink now.
I just dropped that link down in the chat if you guys are looking for some blind grass. But no, that stuff's pretty killer, man. It's like it is a form of plastic, but the way like it's wrinkled up, it looks like actual grass. Plus, he does multiple different colors, and those guys are from down. I think they're in Louisiana or Mississippi. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
But they're doing big house blinds, out on their marshes and the rice fields and all that stuff. And I know when Brad did a podcast with him, he was talking about it, and he was saying that stuff lasts them 5, 6, 7 years before they replace it. So it's super nice. So on a kayak blind, like, I would expect it's going to last much longer. Yeah. I think like he's got something ridiculous, like a 5-year warranty on grass. Like,
yeah,
how do you put a warranty on blind grass? You know what I mean?
So when I get my F10, I'm going to try that synthetic stuff and see.
I'm telling you, you're going to rip all your other grass off your other blinds, and it'll change the way you think about it, for sure.
Man, it's a 7-minute video, but it took me like 4 days to grass that blind in. I am not tearing that off.
There will come a time, my friend. There will come a time.
Yeah. But no, if anybody ever wants to see the Nucanoe, hunt out of the Nucanoe, and they're in Ontario, or they're wanting to come to Ontario, hit me up. I've got a couple here. I'll take you out. I can't guarantee ducks, but I can guarantee you a good time out there. And yeah, you can see what it's all about and maybe get yourself one, right? So
I love it, man, love it. And you guys got a local shop up there as well, man. What's the name of that shop? If
Yep.
somebody's in the Ontario area and they're looking at it.
Yeah. So Freedom Canoe and Kayak.
Okay.
Mike Thorne up there, great guy. Really, I've been dealing with him, and I talk quite a bit, but we've never actually met in person just with COVID and all that stuff, right? So hopefully I get to meet him there shortly in the next couple months. And yeah.
How do you pronounce that town?
Like Aurelia? Now, does it say Barrie or does it say Aurelia? Depends on what you're looking at.
It says Caceria, Ontario?
Oh, I think.
Is that the wrong one?
Oh, are you looking at Cabas Casing, maybe? It might be a different.
It says Freedom Canoe and Kayak.
Yeah.
And Caceria or something like that. I don't know. Look him up. Hit up Dave. He'll send you the right direction.
Yeah, it's in Barrie. Every time I look it up, it just says Barrie, Aurelia area, right? So, yeah. I don't know where you're getting this Caceria.
Dude, I'm telling you, I'll send you a screenshot, bro. But no, good stuff, man. I appreciate you taking time out tonight to sit down, chat with us, share your knowledge and what you do and all that good stuff. Guys, gals, ladies, gentlemen, we will be back here again tomorrow night. I took last week off, so we're doing back-to-back podcasts tonight, this week. So we had Dave on tonight, and tomorrow we got Will Reed. Does a lot of photography and fishing stuff. So we're going to talk to him. He's out of Georgia. And we'll be back here tomorrow night at 7 Central, 8 Eastern, 5 o'clock out on the West Coast. If you guys came into the show late and you want to go back and rewatch, you can check it out on the Facebook and the YouTube channel on Nucanoe, or you could hit it on any major podcast platform, Apple, Spotify, Podbean, all the same stuff Dave was talking about. Just search Nucanoes Unlimited and it'll pop right up there. Dave, thank you, my friend. I appreciate it. Always good chatting with you.
Thanks, buddy.
No,
let's do this again.
Definitely. We'll have to do a waterfowl roundtable as like the season's coming in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
sounds like it.
I love it. We will see you guys tomorrow night. Thanks as always, boys and girls. Until next time, tight lines, smooth paddle.